How's it going, guys? It's Ethanime, and today's going to be the last part in the Did Mappa Ruin Attack on Titan series for a while. We've already done a part 1 and 2 which covered up to episode 8, and I'll link those below. But for this part, we're going to be talking about the season as a whole. And quick disclaimer, we're not going to be talking about the story because the story is easily a 10 out of 10. Just saying this now because in past parts, people thought I was hating on the story. So no, the story is amazing. We're strictly just going to be talking about the animation and the adaptation as a whole. So without further ado, let's jump in and ask the question one more time. Did Mappa ruin Attack on Titan? Real quick, if you guys are new around here, consider hitting that subscribe button, and if we hit 10,000 subs before the end of the year, I'm getting an anime tattoo of your guys' choice, such as Gabby doing the nay-nay. Now, back to the video. Mappa, oh Mappa, the center of debate and war. When Mappa accepted the role of adapting Attack on Titan the final season, there was no way they were expecting the response they got online. From nitpicking, to constructive criticism, to straight up dick sucking, Mappa really has dealt with it all. There was #ThankYouMappa and #MappaRuinedAOT. Overall, it was a shit show, and the fandom took an L on this one. Although we did contribute a bit to that on this channel. Let's go back to the beginning of the season and work our way to the end, talking about all the things that fans had something to say about. So with that, let's start our journey. The days leading up to the premiere of episode 1 were days full of excitement. All the anime onlys were excited to finally get a continuation of the story, and the manga readers would finally get to see it adapted. Before this, everyone found out that WIT had dropped AOT, and that Mappa was the only studio willing to pick it up, because of course, it was going to be a ton of work and a short time frame. Now when WIT was in charge of AOT, they were heavily invested in it. They had a love for Attack on Titan and would go the extra mile whenever needed. WIT was a very small studio of only 30-ish employees, and they were so overworked they often had freelance animators come in to help with the workload, who by the way, were often amazing. Now let's take a look at Mappa. Mappa is a studio with 200 employees, often working on multiple projects at once. They had the manpower to tackle AOT, so that's exactly what they did. They set off a portion of their staff to work on AOT, while the rest worked on other projects such as Jujutsu Kaisen, which felt like it got a lot more attention from the studio than Attack on Titan. Now Mappa decided to go down the typical business route and try to be cost effective, while at the same time not making any sacrifices like WIT. So to prevent the staff from being overworked, a few things happened. Number 1, the trailer for the season got outsourced to another studio, and number 2, Mappa decided not to animate any Titan shifters and outsource that too. Now, the problem with outsourcing the trailer is that the fans were given false hope. In the trailer, we see multiple shots that are way better than Mappa's, and we also had hand-drawn Titans. So as you imagine, everyone's expectations were already set from the trailer. And then came the premiere date of episode 1. It's December 7th. All the AOT fans are at home, sitting on their couch or gaming chair, prepared to finally watch the final season after waiting over a year. The episode starts and we're introduced to the new art style, which honestly wasn't bad whatsoever. I really enjoyed the new art style of AOT and the overall feel. But here is where it got messy. We went from this to this. As someone who rewatched season 3 right before this, it was a very noticeable difference and I was just not a fan. Even though there were some obvious time restrictions, I wish they found something else to cut down on other than one of the main focuses of the show, Titans. Like, look at this shot from the trailer. This looks great, we would have loved this. There's no argument in the fact that CGI is an easier and cheaper solution than just drawing them all out. It's unfortunate, but this was the way AOT was gonna be from now on. And you can thank the production committee for that one. This started the hashtag Mappa Ruined AOT. There were tweets and there were memes. Some of it was normal criticism. And then there were people who sent death threats to Mappa staff on Twitter, and it went too far. The war between Mappa simps and Mappa haters had begun, and that was only the beginning of it. Now the hate during season 1 was not over yet, because there was one other thing that people had a problem with in that episode, the opening. People started hating on the opening without even giving it a chance. I thought it was weird at first too, but not exactly terrible. Then slowly over time it began to stick with me, and now I enjoy the terribly timed openings. One thing that Mappa really did good at, in my opinion, was the art style. I know there are people who weren't fans of it, but it honestly wasn't bad. In the final season, we got a more darker and realistic tone overall, and if I'd had to guess, I'd say over 80% of the episodes were more dark. There was also less bold black borders on characters and a lot more shading in the close-ups like the manga. The only problem was the character designs. For some reason, Mappa decided to add 20 pounds to each character, and when you put them side by side, they look a lot more weird compared to Wit's. They also aren't too consistent. Some characters will look completely random in a different scene compared to the one before that. And I can't say much about the Titan art styles since, well, you know, they weren't drawn. But if Mappa was going to take a dub in anything, it's their art style and overall feel, minus the character designs. The next thing to come up that was the center of hate was the soundtracks. Now there's not much to actually say about this argument other than the fact that yeah, it was a missed opportunity, but it's not the end of the world. The OST still made the specific scenes feel epic, and while there were some better choices, it's not a deal breaker, and I don't feel like Mappa deserved the hate on that one. We are now on episode 6, and after a relatively few peaceful episodes, it was time for the drama to begin once again. Except this time, it was gonna get a lot worse. In episode 6, the anime onlys were introduced to Mikasa's new older design, which in my opinion is pretty accurate to the manga and it didn't bother me too much. But a good chunk of viewers thought otherwise, because next thing you know, Twitter was flooded with more Mappa hate over Mikasa's new design. Now, there were some people saying she is nothing like the manga, but I think she was pretty close. So if the anime onlys are mad at Mikasa's redesign, which they shouldn't be, the Mappa shouldn't be their target of hate. That would be Izumaya, because Izumaya did that redesign, not Mappa. But either way, chill out, don't give Izumaya hate, he already gets enough with the manga. Sadly, this wasn't the end of the episode 6 drama, because episode 6 once again featured a ton of CGI, and it brought back more CGI hate than ever before. The fans were fed up. Twitter became a shitstorm of bad takes, and people started attacking Mappa staff directly. It got so bad the lead director even had to lock his Twitter account to avoid the cringy takes. It was a bad day for the fandom, and it made us look like the worst. That was the day many people showed their true colors. For the remaining episodes, the fandom mostly stayed quiet. There was the odd hate here and there, but for the most part, people just chilled out. These were episodes full of dialogue and story, so there wasn't much Titan action for the remainder of the season, and most people had already become accustomed to the CGI at this point. The memes were mostly positive, and hashtag thank you Mappa had finally dominated over hashtag Mappa ruined AOT. Everyone was chilled out until we got to the final episode, which may have given us a glimmer of hope. Episode 16 was finally here and the fandom was ready. At the end of this intense episode, we finally had more Titan shifters again. And to our surprise, they were hand-drawn. Now these weren't no huge action scenes, but it was more hand-drawn Titans than we had in the whole season. The Attack Titan looked amazing, and it was a glimmer of hope. Now, there are two possibilities. It's either Mappa decided to hand draw just the ending scene as a banger finale, or it's a sign that Mappa may have more time on their hands now that they're done with Jujutsu Kaisen for a bit. Either way, it means we may get some more hand-drawn Titans for the final part coming next January. I don't want to get hopes too high since there's 100% going to be CGI in the next part, but I like to hope we may get more hand-drawn action, especially in this upcoming fight between Eren and Reiner. We can hope. Now that the season was over and we could finally see it all as one, we could finally make the final verdict on this 5-month-long debate. Did Mappa ruin Attack on Titan? No. Did the production committee ruin Attack on Titan? No. Attack on Titan wasn't going to be ruined that easily in the first place. But it is a fact that since the production committee rushed the final season, it would never reach its full potential. Mappa was forced to rush, and they ended up getting the front attack of the internet's hate. Yes, the CGI was majorly overused, they missed out on better OST choices, the OP was weird at first, the trailer was bait, and the character designs were weird. But in the minimal amount of time Mappa was given, it was okay. Titan fights just won't ever be like what they used to be. But it's okay because it's a banger story and all the dialogue scenes were just plain amazing. With part 1 finally over, it's now time for the wait. Part 2, the final part, will air sometime around January 2022, and when that time comes, I imagine there could be another possible shitstorm online. Mappa has a ton of time to work on this upcoming part, so let's just hope for the best. Although they do have a few projects in the works between then and now. Overall, it was a fun season. I had fun making all these videos on Attack on Titan, and when part 2 comes back, damn right we'll be covering it again. If you guys had any opposing views or different takes, let me know in the comments. I'm curious what you guys thought of all the drama this season. This was Ethanime, stay off Twitter, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.